Testing via me. Okay. Me. You.
Me. You. Pa. Doing things. Talking and such.
All right. Nick's mic sounds fine. Now, what is my... Oh, this is much better than the old mic I was using. Anime titties, says Nick H.
Very nice.
All right. So what you're listening to right now is me talking on Shure SM48. It's a cheaper version of the S58. Sounds great. So I'm going to roll on this.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. He's going to roll with it.
I need to get my beer and a water.
This room is a lovely shade of brown. I'm glad we actually haven't started rolling on Zoom, or else this would just be a bunch of really awkward silence. I mean, it's going to be awkward silence anyway. Right now, I'm reading this Road and Track article about how basically the new BMW M3 Touring isn't coming to North America. And knowing us, I mean, like North America's luck in this regard, I don't know. I didn't really expect it to be for North America when it was announced. But yeah, life. Twin turbo straight six under the hood, making it at least 480 horsepower. So that's cool. Yeah. I mean, America doesn't really get cool German cars that often anyway, do they?
I mean, we got the Phaeton, but as far as like they're like high revving, like little cheap Mercedes that have like stick shifts, I don't know.
Because I was looking at the announcement of the BMW M3 Touring.
Okay.
That is going to be coming out, but not here. So,
we got the M1 or the new M1 and the M2. So I'm kind of happy with that.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Ready to hold for sound?
Yeah, we're ready to hold for sound.
Rock and roll.
Holding for sound.
Welcome, everyone, to RCR Podcast number 78, back from Cincinnati.
I'm Brian, doing this. My favorite beer, my friend Tom says this, my favorite beer is one I've never had. This is called Wicked Weed Brewing, and it's called Pretentious India Pale Ale. That's the name. I wonder if this is the one, though, that Ben Wright gave me. The one like, hey, this is an IPA, but it tastes like weed, bro. So does it? No. It's an IPA with a bit of like, what's a good word? Witchcraft to it. It's got some extra tangy, got some extra action on it.
Oh, we already got like a laggy stream.
Oh, is it lagging?
Yeah. Well,
great.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? It's hot. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I'm keeping that fan on.
Yeah,
it's way too hot. I'm sorry if you guys hear the ceiling fan going in the background, but it's a hot one today. So
yeah, it is.
Stuff we got to talk about is I got back from Cincinnati. That was just a me trip. I got to put a shout out like in one of the main videos because he helped me out. And Nick had family stuff to do this past week, and it was in the middle of the week. So I drove my Forester out to Cincinnati, Ohio. I was there this past week filming some cars. I filmed one car in Pittsburgh, and our old friend Justin Lose helped me out. Was my camera guy for that one. Justin Lose, you remember, owns a 25 Model T, and he also has a Yugo, I think an 88 Yugo GV or something in the 80s that both of us drove on one of the Lemons rallies. So he's still working on that. He found an original radio for that thing, which that's going in. I forget, he's Courier van he's working on as well. And then from Pittsburgh off, I went to Cincinnati to stay 2 nights with my friend Foster and his boyfriend Dono. Foster runs a YouTube channel called Adler the Eagle. It's furry stuff. And so I hung out there. We thought we were going to do something for his channel, but he's working on like a Minecraft server and like talking about drama that's involved in running a Minecraft server. I'm like, leave me out of that. But he's told me a story that he's friends with Brandon now. And Brandon, you remember, owned the Cappuccino, the guy that we were in last time I was in Cincinnati. I did his. And don't worry, I'll get to all the super chats here. That's how we roll. We do like talking for like a half an hour, and then we get into the podcast. So we get into super chats. So Foster says he's not a car guy, but he drives a Mini Cooper S 6-speed. So, and him and Brandon, they put a blow-off valve on it. Just, no tune, no nothing. Just that's Mini now. It's got a choo-choo valve. And Foster told me, like, the day he got it, he goes to get gas, and somebody in a Fiesta ST rolled down his window, says, "Hey, want to race?" Immediately, because now he's driving around with a blow-off valve, and his Mini's going, choo, choo, or pizoo, pizoo. It's like, the car's not changed. I think they're like 190 horsepower, which is good for a small hatch. I mean, that's on par with what a Fiesta ST makes. So, So we filmed 2 cars while we were there in Cincinnati. I don't know if I want to try to film in Cincinnati within the city limits again. There's no big empty highways like there are out here, so it was tough getting the 3/4 shot. We had a great park that we were filming in, but the roads outside of the park were just kind of So, but while we were there, there's a guy, I think in Dayton, Ohio or Columbus, who emailed me who says he bought a school bus. And in the state of Ohio, you can buy and register a school bus as a C-class vehicle, and that you don't need a CDL to drive it.
Wow.
So there's this guy with like one of the cab over, like flat nose school buses out there. And he says, "Come drive this thing." And I'm like, yo. So that could be a thing. Cause he has like a bunch of stories, like his channel, he does like a bunch of animated stuff. And that's like a story for him about stories from the school bus. Yeah. But that's all a review from us is going to be awesome. Wait, did you ride a school bus when you were in school? Wait, you went to?
Yeah, no, I did a school bus. Yeah. I mean, it was grade 7 through 12. So it was a mixture of, yeah, I took the bus, but like also I missed the bus a lot. So I ended up getting rides from my mom. Yeah, school bus. Totally.
Yeah. So I tried to get him to drive like the faster of the 2 cars, and he was kind of nervous about it. I'm talking about Foster now. And I'm like, one of the cars was your average sports car, 130 horsepower, which he took to just fine. And the other one was 500 with like almost an equal amount of torque. I think it's like 4 something. People figure out what I'm talking about. We just made jokes like this is the himbo car. Himbo, I'm a dumb guy.
Oh, the
dumbest modern cars, all 500 horsepower, all motor American thing. You probably already figure out what I'm talking about. God, that car is dumb. It's like, oh, it's a himbo. Just let him pass. He's an all-American.
Like, he's not great at science. So what?
He's not good at he doesn't know all his vowels. But who really needs to know that?
You see the catch he made last Friday? Who needs vowels when you got an arm like that?
Yeah. See that? It took 3 opposing linebackers to bring him down. We can't hold this guy down. So that was one car. I had a good drive on the way back. We got caught in all that big rain that was going through. I was driving through that on the way back, and I felt like a champ in my 04 Forester with like 2 layers of Rain-X on the roof. I'm new wipers. I got good tires, manual. So I'm all 50-50 power distribution front and back. I'm going 60 miles an hour on the outside line. Everybody else who doesn't clean their windows, that's a freaking thing. Drives me the hell. Like, windshield wipers don't clean your window. Windshield wipers don't clean your windshield. All they do is push water off. You don't get bugs and all that junk. You're driving around in your car, your front windshield is just getting blasted with oil and debris and bugs and stuff like that. What do you think? This little limpy piece of rubber going across, all that's made to do is made to push water off. It's not meant to scrub it clean. You have to, like when you wash a car, you have to scrub and clean your windshield. I use dish soap. Just something that like a degreaser that gets in and gets all that gunk out of your windshield, all those pores that it has now, because your windshield just gets nicked and all those little divots in it. All that is where sludge hides. So you scrub your windshield clean. Like, people get in my car, it's like, wow, everything, your windshield's so clean. It's like, yeah, I fucking wash it with soap and water. And then once you do that, yeah, someone says squeegee the windshield. Yeah, squeegee and suds. That's great. That's good. And then when you wash it, when you hand wash it with a sponge. And then once it's all done like that, then you go in with your Rain-X. Or if you don't have Rain-X, you can legitimately use turtle wax, regular old car wax on your windshield. You can literally wax it like anything else, and then buff it clear. That does pretty much the same thing that Rain-X or what's the other stuff? Aquapel does. But the real genius of it is scrubbing and cleaning your windshield. You ever get in someone's car and they're wide, like, I don't know why my wipers don't work. I just bought new ones, and they're there and it's misting outside, and the only way they can see out of their windshield is to put their wipers on high. It's like they're not doing anything. Yeah, because you have a layer of oil on your windshield, oil and grub and little bits of rubber that get thrown from trucks. I swear, I was a good friend of mine. His windshield was like that. I cleaned it with some leftover silica soap from Hydrosilix. Like, that alone made his wipers. And of course, you then clean your wipers, ideally with isopropyl alcohol. And if you don't have that, Windex will do. The people rolling around with dirty windshields, I can't believe it. Well, I believe it because people don't think about it. It's like all the stuff that people, when it comes to car detailing or just keeping your clean car, there's the second people get out of their car, like, I'm done, going inside.
Sorry, I'm trying to recover my Twitter password so that I can tweet this video out so that people join us.
Quadruple O steel wool on your windshield. That's aggressive. I don't know if I've never tried it. If I had a junk car, I'd try that. Anyway, Acoustic Theory says, what Mr. Regular hates the most? Dirty windshields. Because it's so simple to fix. Hand soap. I'll bet I could clean your windshield with my hand. Brandon says, I thought it was Jettas that he hates the most. No, I've made the turn on Jettas. They're fine.
Is it because
especially now that my brother has one and it's a turbo, but it's a turbo that runs on 87. I'm like, I respect that. And so, yeah, that made me turn on Jettas. They're fine. Now I hate E46 M3s because people think they're rich when they own one. Much respect. I mean, they're great cars. They're fantastic, but people will go broke to have them. This is an all right beer. I'm having like old man feelings now. Like, I didn't exert myself all day. All we did was go to the cafe this morning, write a future episode, and then I cleaned your car, and then we went shopping, and now we're here. And I feel like, well, it's already 6 p.m. And it's like, well, time to plan dinner.
Well, that's kind of how I ended up feeling today too, because I had those coffees and then I just sort of crashed. I was up there recording the next RCR stories. And so it's 2 hours and I'm well, the video isn't. It's just the recording session is because I mess up a lot. So it's me trying to modulate my voice and do all these other little things to make editing it easier, like trying to like leave out my breaths like the Tay Zonde doing Chocolate Rain, you know, it's like really turn away from the mic, or like trying to watch, you know, my distance and how loud I'm being and how soft I'm being, because there's really no winning for me. Like I've come to the conclusion that I just don't have the right voice for this. Like we can't all be internet historian, but
yeah,
it's also that thing of
can't all be Frederick Knudsen.
That's true.
Dude, I was talking to him last night on Discord.
Yeah.
And he read me, like live read his, I want you, because he wanted my input on like a future Down the Rabbit Hole episode. It's going to be 2 hours.
Dude. And after that Wings of Redemption one, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because this
one's good too. And I'm like, there's no pauses, there's no ums in this. And I said, when like it paused, it's like, are you playing me a file? And he's like, no, I'm just reading it. I'm like, he read like 10 minutes without a hiccup.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable. I can't do that. I can read a breath. Like when you see, like, look, you see how I write in like a million paragraphs. Like I will read this in this breath. I will read this in this breath. Like reading your stuff takes a little bit longer because I have to find out where I'm going to stop to breathe. Normally I just find the period.
Yeah.
But some of your stuff, like I try to mimic your speech.
Yeah. That
you'll do like 3 sentences, but the cadence will continue right through. So I try to do that.
Yeah. Like it was a time of it's kind of like the best of times, the worst of times. The time of the
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's how people are getting better at sort of discerning who wrote what in each video. But I
mean, I act more when I act my own stuff.
Yeah, but
I know because I know the tone.
Yeah, but you also do pretty good stuff with my stuff too.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, like when you like sort of get into it. And yeah, those are the kinds of things that blur the lines a bit, but that's also why it helps to write together, because then, you know, you're sort of sharing the tone.
Can't believe it's the end of the summer already.
Yeah, it is.
I know it's the end of the summer because now the crickets are getting loud, and I have this video I want to do. I just want to take like not this zoom, but the tiny one, and just put it outside and just let it run until its AAA batteries go dead.
Yeah.
And the video would go on the Mr. Regular YouTube channel, and it's just called Crickets on an Crickets on an August night in Pennsylvania, and it's just 2 hours of just noises. And I just put it out on the porch at like midnight and just let it run.
That could potentially save somebody's life if they're looking for things to chill to and they're freaking out, you know?
True. You know, I made a recording of that for myself, and I listened to it a lot in Alaska. And I get emails from people who are in the service who are from Pennsylvania, and they're in the service elsewhere, and they miss the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, it's so nice that I can listen to videos that are so Pennsylvania centric, and I get all the jokes. And like, I wish I was home. And like, I got a few emails from people who are in, you know, the Middle East, who are like, I miss home so much, and that makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should do that. I mean, there's nothing stopping me. The recorder's like right there on the desk.
Yeah.
And then just let it run.
The M3 touring was something that someone sent me the article from Road and Track about how we're not getting it here. And
is it a wagon?
I forget, actually. I want to say yes, it has a twin turbo. I forget the horsepower rating, but it's kind of like my mind checked out the minute I realized we weren't getting it, in a very childish kind of way of like, I can stop reading about this now because I'm never going to get but it's like, to what extent do we even really need it? If you think about it, really,
right?
Because I don't know, it would be nice to have, as would many things. How long did it take to get the Type R? It's just ultimately, when you have that amount of hype go into something and then you finally get it, you worry that it won't be able to live up to it. Now, of course, like the C8 lived up to it for me.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it's something where that's domestic and it's doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's easy to put these certain things on a pedestal, and the M3 Touring would be one of those where it's already going to be put on a pedestal precisely because we can't have it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the new prom queen or homecoming queen. And I don't know. I get the frustration, but it's also something where I kind of don't feel as bothered by it as I feel I probably would be if it were something that I already had set a mind towards wanting to have.
Yeah. I'm still not sold as a BMW as a daily. Unless it's a lease. They're so specific. And I know the E46 and E36 guys are like, well, all you got to do is go to the College of Winterholm or something like that, and then you'll figure it out and do all these side quests, and then you'll be able to work on your fucking M40 dumbass slant crap, disgusting interior, stupid BMW. I wish I had a Bentley, but I don't.
Yeah.
My brother got me. We were talking about this at the cafe today. I'm so behind on video games because like RCR is my video game.
Yeah, that's
the last game I played with like two recent games. One, Star Citizen, which kind of stands alone as its own like space train disaster. But that was Frederick Knudsen from Down the Rabbit Hole tuning me on to that. And the other, like years ago, I'm talking like at the beginning of RCR, my brother Tim, he's a therapist at a hospital, and he also is a DJ, and you might know who he is. He put out an album called Hell Orbs, where he did a collaboration with Drew Fairweather from the online comic Toothpaste for Dinner. So him and my brother are friends, and Tim has made a number of, I guess you want to call him house. I'd have to actually figure out what he calls his music. To me, it's electronica, but it's all very catchy. And my buddy, different Tim Strickler, you remember him with the original Avenger review, and he always hangs around RCR. And good friend, lives out in Pittsburgh. So
good man.
I remember like Tim Strickler said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this? Have you ever heard of this artist called Dendy Crew? He made this album called Hell Orbs." And I said, "Tim Strickler, that's my brother." And he's like, "The fuck it is." I'm like, "I'm serious." So that was like a wild moment. And I haven't seen my brother in like a while because he's like, because of the Rona, he's just at the hospital all the time. And then like people having, challenges like dealing with it like mentally and stuff. Anyway, that's a downer. He's a great therapist and honestly helped me with a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
So Tim said, I'm gonna like every Christmas or birthday, he usually just gets me something from Steam. And I said, I don't know what I want. I just want a video game that I don't like online play. I just want to play something on myself the last one he got me was Borderlands 2, and I played through it like 8 times. Like every single character is like, this is my video game. Yeah. I get home, I play Borderlands 2 again. So, and Tim's like, I'm getting you a new video game for your birthday. So my brother says, I'm going to introduce you to a game. It's called The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. It came out in 2011. It's like, I know you're going to like it. And I'm like, all right, I'm not big in the whole like fantasy, thee, thou, and the. Like I had enough of that in college with all this like Middle Ages stuff. And it's like, you're going to like it. And by the end of I started playing it, and then 3 hours went by. And over this past weekend, I played it so much I hurt my shoulder because my arm was in this position for the mouse for so long. This part of my shoulder, like holding my arm here, like legitimately hurts. Like I can't do lateral raises. Everything hurts right here. I held my arm in that position playing fucking Skyrim for the first time in my life. I was up till 1 a.m. last night playing it. And for a guy who's about to turn 40, that is preposterous.
Yeah. Did you get married in the game yet? No,
I heard about that. I am playing, this is my first playthrough. I'm playing a lizard person. How do you Argonian? So I'm like, I think in the beginning you couldn't play as them. I don't know. my brother got me. This is like special edition something.
With all the DLC and all that.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know what internet graphics are, so my computer's running it fine. I heard like in the beginning, like this was like kind of taxing a little bit on computers. Anyway, so I'm playing a female lizard person, and I felt bad that some of the armor was sexist, like boob armor. Like that, like there's one like steel armor has like plates for the boobs, and I'm like, that's dumb. Like real armor doesn't have that. Like racing suits, like Steph Schrader comes to mind. Like you put on a racing suit or any sort of bodily protection clothing, it's like it's not really gender specific. It's like it's made to protect your chest. Like I don't know if it was her words or it was Monica Harrison's or something like that. And she told me it just sort of squishes the boobs like a sports bra. It's nothing to like. It's no factor. So I found this like. I didn't like the steel armor because it was too like weeb, like boob armor. So I chose like a dwarvian armor that looks more non-binary, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that looked better. I'm like, I'll take the armor hit to make something, to have something that looks realistic in this game that I'm playing a female lizard person.
Well, that's the whole point of role-playing game in that, you know, you're not thinking about what necessarily makes sense. You're doing what this character would do as I conceive of this character, particularly in a game where I don't know that the story really matters that much. Like, yeah, you could either join up with Ulfric Stormcloak or you know,
everybody's talking about that in the game. Like people in the comments are like, Brian, what is wrong with you? You're just discovering a game from like the beginning part of like Obama's first term.
Yeah.
Like that's where I am in my video game history.
I mean, I remember playing it and almost taking it back because I was walking really slowly and my character wouldn't run. And I didn't realize all the things that I was picking up created like a weight, because there were weight physics. So you can't just go around picking up everything and holding on to all of it and still being able to run. And so it's just one of those things where, because I was a moron, I'd never played a whatever manufacturer game that was. So it was just a very dumb thing. And then I just dropped everything. I had all the books, all the little like plates and cups and everything.
I did that in the beginning too. It's like, I'm escaping from this. I was about to be beheaded and now I'm escaping and I'm picking up every mug and plate and barrel I see. I'm like, it's a game, pick it up. Yeah. I can sell it for money. Like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bullshit in this game that doesn't matter. And I think that's tremendous.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about it. You know, it's just something where you can easily sink hours upon hours of mindless thinking, you know, into it. And it's just mindless thinking. That's kind of an oxymoron, but still, you know, it's the perfect game to unwind to, especially with the music and everything and the sounds. It's just so well designed, and it's been endlessly ported ever since it's been released. Like moved to different systems in new versions and everything. It's just
the YouTube algorithms are showing me people who have ported it to VR now. Amazing.
Yeah, we live in a time.
Yeah. Speaking of time, do you want to get to super chats?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay. I mean, nothing has happened to me at all this week except I've been reading a lot of screenplays from The Blacklist, which is the top list of unproduced screenplays in Hollywood. And the one that I read recently was Rumors, which is the Fleetwood Mac biopic. And it's one of those things where it fed directly into my pre-existing and recently re-emerging obsession with yacht rock.
It's so good.
Yeah, like the best scene in the script is around my favorite Fleetwood Mac song, which is Silver Springs. And it's basically just a giant middle finger from Stevie Nicks to Lindsey Buckingham. And in the script, she's just like singing it directly to him while he sort of looks down at the guitar and cowers, and, you know, he's not really sure, he can't meet her gaze. And the whole thing about it is that, like, it is kind of musical tourism in the sense that you get a bunch of different celebrities who show up in it. But the big point that the script kind of makes, well, it's not a big point, but one of the lasting lingering impressions is that Don Henley from Eagles is like a really huge prick. Because it's like he gets her pregnant and then she's super excited.
Okay. Yeah. She gets Stevie Nicks pregnant.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Don Henley gets her pregnant and she's super excited to have this baby. And she tells him about it. And he's like, don't worry. Like, I'll take care of it. She's like, oh, great. Like, she's going to be a family. He's like, yeah, I'll drive you to the clinic myself. And everything. It's just like, I mean, there is a lot of like sort of messing with the whole timeline of things. Like, they kind of fictionalize how Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham met and how they got into Fleetwood Mac and like just little things like that. But I still enjoyed the script for what it was.
Is it going to be kind of like a Bohemian Rhapsody biopic?
Not that bad.
Okay.
It's still hews pretty clse to what happened as I understand it. Because I'm not exactly a Fleetwood Mac historian.
Are they all still alive?
As far as I know, although the one, I think the founder of Fleetwood Mac recently died. Not John Green, something Green. I'm so sorry for not remembering off the top of my head. But
man, I remember that. Was it Melanie Remington got me in high school? Got me The Dance.
Yeah,
that was one of my first CDs. Like their live album when they like reunited in the 90s. That's one of those things where. Was it called The Dance?
I want to say it was. I don't know. I do remember it was like a double album or something.
Yeah, it was a long album.
Yeah. And so it's one of those scripts where I imagine normally when I set out to read a screenplay, I immediately try to think of like who I would envision in each role to the point where I can't read it until I have actors in my mind. Like I was reading this script the other day that's it was number 1 on the blacklist this past year. And it was called, Move On. And I thought it would be a great movie for Lakeith Stanfield and Zazie Beetz, 2 great actors. Yeah. But it's such a high concept premise because the whole idea is that they live in this world where this guy proposes to his girlfriend. She rejects him. He goes off in his car. The car gets smashed by gets T-boned by a semi, but he spins out and he's okay. But he's so distraught by everything that's gone wrong in his life that day. He goes out and gets drunk with his best friend. When he comes out of the bathroom, the whole world has frozen in place. Like beers are in mid-pour. No one is moving.
Right.
So basically the premise is he spends 3 months like this and eventually runs into another unfrozen person who happens to be his ex-girlfriend who rejected the proposal. So now they set out on a road trip to try to figure out why this is all happening and why them. And it has like a super obvious and dumb twist, but which I won't spoil. Just go to blacklisthost.com and they have the scripts there and just read it if that's something that interests you, but it's kind of dumb. If you like those types of it's a romantic drama, but it's also kind of like a sci-fi heavy premise. It's not as good as The Traveler, which is also kind of dumb, but weird in the sense that it's this guy who every morning at 7:52 a.m., his life skips forward a certain number of days, and then he just reappears back in the same spot. But for him, it was a second. And so, or like just a moment. And so every single morning that this happens to him, the amount of time that he's gone multiplies. And so they have to figure out a solution to this before he's gone for sort of, 64 years or however long it is. Damn. And it's very high concept, very well done. And I'm guaranteed like the first A-lister who gets that script in their hands is signing on so fucking fast. Like
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I was thinking like, funnily enough, like I don't even think he's an A-lister, but I had Jeremy Renner in mind for that, which is fine. But apparently people are like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is going to sign on to it. I'm like, he's kind of too old for the role.
I think RDJ just wants to take it easy for a while.
Yeah.
He was like that on the Rogan podcast. He's like, Rogan's like, how much money would it take to be Tony Stark again? He's like, There, Joe was something like, "There's a number."
Yeah, he's reaching it's the equivalent to cereal and milk, where there's a saturation point when the milk becomes soggy. And it's a Rick and Morty thing too, where he talks about the pancakes and syrup. But like, there is a point in his career where, you know, one Tony Stark appearance could be too many, to the point where he cannot come back from being Tony Stark. Yeah. Like, he will never not be Tony Stark. Right. I think he's already there, kind of, but one big sort of like Oscar type role might be able to change it. But for now, he's just like Tony Stark to everybody. Right. And it's hard to really shake that off.
Right. But what a hell of a turnaround.
Tell me about it. It's better than where he was, like, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Or 12 years ago.
People in the first one was like, are you sure Robert Downey Jr., that guy? And then just stepped up to the plate and knocked that movie out. And people are like, all right.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'll do it again. Did you ever hear the one video where Jamie Foxx does I think it was Jamie Foxx on Rogan or something like that. He does this spot on, like, name me an impression that Jamie Foxx doesn't nail, but naming Robert Downey Jr. like on a phone call. I had a phone call with Robert Downey Jr. and I'm not going to try to do it. Yeah. But it was like, it only takes Jamie Foxx like 2 or 3 words. And he's like, he's got him. Yeah. It's like one of those impressions that you don't know can exist, because you don't think of Robert Downey Jr. as having like a specific, you know, thing that you're capable of impersonating. Yeah. Like, you can impersonate as Tony Stark, but I guess it is kind of like an extrapolation of his own style of speech. But I don't know. He's playing Mike Tyson in the biopic, which that'll be good. I can't wait. Yeah. He's going to kill that. Yeah. He's going to crush it. Okay. So we got to animate titties to start. Nissan 350Z, thank you for your donation, says, hope to see you soon in Chicago. Love RCR community, welcomes you to let us know. Yeah, we did a meet in Chicago a million years ago, which means 2 years ago in YouTube time. Mike Steinberg got a house, so we have a legit place to stay in Chicago. So he says, I hope I'm not inviting myself over there. Is it Chicago proper, or is it like? No, it's not. It's not Chicago proper. It's like, I don't know if it's Rosemont or something like that. So it's sorry. No, because my cousin just got a new apartment in the city. And I'm just like, it's not city. No. Yeah. This is like, I think it's in one of those places like communities that has a town center, one of those deals. So it's a little bit, maybe not West Coastville, but Exton style. Yeah. Or why Missing doesn't have a town center. It just has a bunch of condos. No, it's just very much they got the Target Mall. Yeah, why I'm Missing is the Florida of Berks County. My aunt lives there. My aunt used to live there, and then she moved to Florida. Yeah, it's like, okay, Grandma, if it's like, we either put you in a home, or you could go to Why Missing, or you can retire to Florida. Yeah, or maybe that's the answer of, like, being put in a home, of like, fuck you, I'm not being put in a home, I'm moving to Florida. Florida's too far. Well, fuck you, I'm moving to Why I'm Missing. Okay. Taylor Swift is from there. But it's just strange in that, like, that whole neighborhood is, I don't know how much of it is still old money. I wonder how much of it is new money now, because you see a lot of new houses getting built there. And when I used to go on runs around there back when I like had cardio, and I would get so envious of these fucking houses. Yeah. So envious, because I'm like, you have all that space. You don't even need all that space. You have 2 kids. What do you need like 9 bedrooms for? Yeah. It's like, it's just one of those things of like, I would have a room for, you know, it's just like, I would get into things just so I could put them in one of the empty rooms. Yeah. Like, I would get into sports just so I had a sports collectible room. It's just, I don't know. Shane Hallett doesn't have a question. Just says Borger. And by that, I mean an emoji of a burger. Thank you. I was thinking about, man, when was the last time I had a burger? I was out in Cincinnati. I forget. One of the times we went out to eat around there, I had burger. A burger from McDonald's. Cameron, hello. Wouldn't be a podcast without you. Hello, y'all. Just wanted to say hello and to let you know a lightning bolt just broke my cable TV. That sucks. don't know what to tell you, but thank you.
Thank you. That kind of goes along with, like, it wasn't a great week for my Mustang just because there was unexplained moisture in the footwell, which it was just accumulating, but not really spreading at all. It was almost an indiscernible amount of moisture that was just from somewhere. And I looked all over for a leak, listened to people's suggestions, maybe heater core, but that's the other side of from where this leak was. It's just strange that, like, I never figured out what it was. And then I go today, and after 5 days, it just arbitrarily disappeared. Like, it dried, but it hadn't dried at all. And I'm wondering, I don't know. I'm still taking it in, but still.
William Bazetsky says, quarantine with Frederick Knudsen, make it happen. Can't reach my phone. It's over there. Wait, I have Telegram on here. I'm going to tell him that right now. See, I was supposed to do quarantine with him, and it didn't happen.
I thought he stopped doing those.
Yeah, he said they didn't do too well, and they weren't. Everybody liked them. I don't know. I mean, it's his channel. He can do what he wants. I'm just telling him right now. Someone just gave me a super chat asking when the RCR down the rabbit hole quarantine is happening.
Also, your response is live right now.
No, I am not live streaming my screen, but I am talking while I type this.
Doing an old-timey Telegram style of just like, I am typing this to reach you. Stop. I hope this finds you well.
Stop. We'll see what he says, William. I just texted him now. Do we say message or text now? Because everything's the same. It's just going to your fucking phone.
Yeah, I sometimes go interchangeably, honestly.
MHT doesn't have a question. Oh, yeah, they do have a question. Hey, again, you ever try anything from New Holland Brewery in Holland, Michigan? I don't know. Don't know if I did it or not. This beer's kicking in because it's 7%. They have some amazing summer brews. Well, I like summer brews. Lake and Trail is the best. Sounds good. I haven't been to Michigan. I do want to go to the Upper Peninsula just to say I went there. That's it. Thank you, MHC. Yacht doesn't asks a Mark V Supra when? It's like, I don't know. I mean, there's like maybe one guy in like freaking Denver who said he had a Mark V Supra that I can drive. It's going to be tough, man, to get one of them. I can't wait to get one. I want to drive it. I know it's really a BMW. Maybe BMW engine. I don't know. I do want to do it. It'll happen eventually. Not sure when, but thank you so much for the donation.
Yeah.
Wreck wouldn't be a podcast without you. Can't argue with that. Or like Pine Sol burped in my face. Yep, that's fine. But I've heard 21st Amendment. I've had 21st Amendment. Yep. Makes good ones. Yep. That's a good one. Yep. Hoping all is well. Will you ever come out to Phoenix again? Yes. When? I don't know. Arizona is like deep in like mask deniers or something like that. So I'm not going back there.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm getting on a plane. I got an email from American Airlines saying, hey, you should travel. We got deals now. You can get one way to Denver for $49.
Damn.
Really. Damn, right?
That's
freaking Denver, Colorado.
I mean, it's easier if it's somewhere within driving distance where it's just you in the car. And once you get there, you're only with people you know, and they're all like geared up.
Yeah.
And you're not really going out to like bars and places. You're just enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
That's fine as far as I know. But everything else, it's like you want to just go congregate in places with, I don't know, 80 people.
Yeah.
And, just because the bar is open doesn't mean you should go. Mm-hmm. Plus, it's cheaper to just get a sixer or enjoy
the backyard.
Yeah, play a little yacht rock, which a friend or someone on Twitter did a really good summary in a response to one of my yacht rock tweets. Is that it's got that summer is almost over vibe, and I'm like, that's exactly what yacht rock is.
Oh, what is that? Summer breeze.
Summer breeze make me feel fine.
Moving through the rush in my mind. Yeah. Last time I got high, it's like I just listened to yacht rock, and I imagine my parents' youth, like 1979.
Yeah,
it's like Vietnam is over, but we've got this oil crisis. They're kind of all I want to do is just sit on a beach somewhere, and I guess that rings true right now. But to go back to Pittsburgh, it's the thing. It's like I miss flying, but it's not the industry I'm wary of. It's like, can the general populace keep it together? Because a lot of people can't. You show them a little bit of resistance and they freaking lose it. Like even while we were at the cafe today, I heard some freaking white hair talking about how he hates the masks. And I just wanted to lean over that fucking balcony, and because cafe is 2 stories, and just go, wah,
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 come on, wah, wah,
wah. Waluigi #1.
wah. Politics. So thank you.
Yeah.
Patrick McFarland, thank you for your donation. It says, your 2019 Impreza video inspired me to pick up a new one. Oh, cool. You can't predict the future, but do you think Subaru has fixed the head gasket problems? I think they have.
Yeah.
They've gone to direct injection. They just stuck with that EJ motor from time in memoriam. Is it memoriam or memorial?
Memorial.
Thank you.
As far as
time in memorial. And the new one supposedly, see, we don't know yet. Like, I'd have to talk to the guys at the Subaru. Like, you'd have to talk to the guys at the parts department. Like, are you seeing stuff with the FBD engine? That's the FB series engine with gasoline direct injection. What are we seeing these engines do at 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles? It's still pretty new. These cars are only a year old, a year or 2 old. So it's we're gonna find out in the next 5 years, like, where the head gasket situation is. I think you're going to be, look, no car is immune from head gasket problems, not even the Grand LS. Yeah. Show a car enough miles, eventually that gasket between the engine block and the cylinder head, it wears out. It goes. It happens. Yeah. But I think in the grand scheme of things, don't lose any sleep over your new Subaru as long as it has the FB engine. K. Todd, good question, by the way. K. Todd, thank you for your donation. I just bought a town car, and boy, am I in love. Aren't they great? Panther bodies. You got all the parts you want. Everything's fucking cheap. They have that stupid it's not modular engine isn't stupid. I think they're fantastic. It's why I keep pushing Nick. Like, whenever you're thinking of retiring Red Betty, get an S197 that has the 2-valve modular. It's the 4.8, 4.6. 4.6 liter, that's 289 cubic inches, the same as the original Mustang. They just kept it to that displacement. There's nothing wrong with that engine. Yeah. Like, ooh, it's not 5 liters. So what? I mean, they say they want 91 octane. Fucking put 87 into it. It doesn't care. It doesn't care at all. And then you got this V8 that's way better than the Duratec V6 that wears out faster. Like, you just trip over those engines in junkyards. Take it to Bruce Henn. He can take that engine apart blindfolded. Yeah. And then, I don't know, maybe find one in stick shift and like force yourself to learn. Like, this is my car now. To get
better at it.
That's how I got better. Like, when I bought that Echo, it's like, this is my car now. Fucking learn. Yeah. And like, by necessity, that's how I got pretty good at it and how to listen to the engine and stuff. But yeah, town car, there's been a few people who swapped in like Mustang, 5 speeds and 6 speeds into town cars. They're hilarious, but they got to do the same thing as that Cam Master we did. You got to cut the bench seat in the middle to make room for that stick shift coming out.
Yeah. I mean, I think of it a lot like the Himbro thing of where you know, some people can't really teach things. They're just naturally good at them. And manuals are just not that for me, where I can do it, but I don't know the process by which, because my instincts are just like not great. I mean, still, knock on wood, I haven't been in an accident. Well, not a serious accident. But you know, all things in time. I'm still looking for like a manual beater just to have, you know?
Yeah.
Because it would be nice.
Anybody in the channel, email Nick or message me.
Yeah.
You got to be in Pennsylvania. It's got to be $1,000 manual beater.
I'm willing to go 1,200. I mean, I'm looking at it in terms of like something that is just like
throwing a whole PS2 at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of just one of those. I just want something that I don't have to really care about.
If you blow the clutch, you blow the clutch.
Yeah.
You put it back up on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace for $1,000. Say everything's great, needs a clutch. Or at the worst, you just go to Bruce Hen and say, clutch. And he goes, okay.
Yeah.
Of course, it'll probably be another $1,200 in labor cost to pull the engine out, pull the transmission out, take the two apart, put the new clutch in, put it out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it'd be cool to just kind of be like, hey, look at this piece of shit I got. Like, let's do, hey.
It's more fuel to the fire to me finding a 6-speed Camry that exists from the early 2000s. There's one for sale up in Lehighton, but the guy wants like 2008 for it, and fuck that noise for a car with 250,000 miles on it. I'm like, I'll give you $900.
Yeah. I mean, come back to it in like 3 months if he still
has that thing on the lot.
It's like, well, hey, if you're trying to get rid of it, you know what I mean? Like, let's make a deal. Let's work.
Bob says, oh, excuse me, I skipped something. Bro something panda 047. Thank you for your donation. Thoughts on a 2001 Saturn SL1 with 147,000 miles? I don't know. It's going to look great because it's got that plastic body panels on it, but I don't know. I mean, you're talking 2001 area General Motors. It's probably has a floppy stick shift if it has a manual. Everything's going to disagree. That car is worth, again, $900. If it's more than $900, it's not worth your money. Buy a Corolla.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Thank you, Bob. Or boss something panda. Anyway, moving on to Bob. Bob with a SCK, which is Kroners or something like that. Just popped open a wedge cut from Cigar City Brewing. I don't know where that is. Lemony Fresh. Look it up. Buy a can. Have a taste. You're welcome. Also, Hail Fink. Hail Fink. Cheers. Thank you, Bob. Ian's Variety Channel. There's a familiar name. What's your favorite car choices? Content in a show not about cars.
Oh,
I loved gawking at the cars in the new Perry Mason on HBO.
God,
it sounds like a you question.
I love classic Perry Mason with Raymond Burr. But no, the beginning and end of this question is unsolved mysteries, and it will always be unsolved mysteries. And I'm not talking about like the new Netflix unsolved mysteries where they don't even bother with like reenactments or a host or synthesized music or any of that stuff that added to the whole creep factor of unsolved mysteries, where now they're just taking like a regular documentary crime series and adding the unsolved mysteries name to it, and you would never know the difference. And the whole dedicating one episode to one case is just, long story short, is the original Unsolved Mysteries is like a treasure trove of classic cars and old haunts. I mean, they go to like an old Sheets in an episode from like 1989, and it's just
before we got them.
Yeah, it was just such a wild thing to see, like the old Sheets sign and all this other stuff. And you know, you get like a K car parked out front, and because it's always a K car, like it's always some mess. The person being murdered was driving like a Dodge Aries or some bullshit, and you know, the person who sees the UFO is, you know, I don't know, driving like an Aspen. Who knows? But ultimately, that's my favorite car content from a show that's not about cars, because really on something. There was this one case that was really tragic. That was a guy's girlfriend gets abducted. He sees her screaming out the window of the car as they're driving by. He gives chase. He's catching up. Then the transmission dies and the car gets away. Like, and it's completely like random chance that this happens to him at this time. The one time where he needs his car to actually fucking work. And, you know, it's just, I forget how that ended, but it was just a very sad story. I don't remember the car either, but I do remember the reenactment and the actor playing the boyfriend, like freaking out when the car hits the driver. It's like, ridiculous.
Classic Seinfeld was good for that too. When they cut to like the street and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like
there were kind of stock shots that they'd reused some of them. And I remember there was this yellow Honda CRX that was always parked in front of Jerry's apartment.
Yeah.
I knew what it was back then, and now I'm more excited to see it now. I think in the one one episode of Seinfeld where George, they revealed his gigantic wallet. Like how he kept everything in. Yeah. And there was at one point where the one straw broke the camel's back. He puts it in and explodes. Well, right before he finds whatever, like it was some like free guitar lesson or something like that. There was a Mitsubishi Starion behind him. And I'm like, it's in the winter time. So this was legitimately them in New York City. It's a street park fucking Starion with snow on. It's like, oh my God. So moving on to... Oh, that was Ian's Variety Channel. Thank you. I went to the cafe yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I had a sweet tooth craving. That's when I bought there. There's one cafe in my town that does like gourmet stuff. I spent each one of these. Now, I guess I got my money's worth because I'm eating them for days. But like big pastries, each one of them was $5. And like the gourmet Reese's peanut butter cup that I was showing you.
Yeah.
It's a hockey puck. Imagine a Reese's peanut butter cup, but it's the size and thickness of a hockey puck. And now drizzle chocolate over everything and sprinkles on top of that. I cut it in half. And when I was editing yesterday, I ate half of it. And it was so much sugar because I don't really eat sugar. Because I was just, that combined with the coffee, I was vibrating. But the other one I got was just like carrot coffee cake, which I'm eating the rest of it now, which is also very good.
Very nice. I mean, that sounds like grandma eating, like the type of food that you only ever get when you go to grandma's house as a kid. Just like, oh, I'm going to ruin all the whatever habits your parents are trying to teach you, eating wise.
So Will Downs. Hello, Will Downs. My Civic hit an elk. Oh, boy. Weighing between 500 and 730 pounds on Saturday. I'm okay. The car is fixable. You guys come to Seattle. You can review it. Okay. Thank you. I don't know when we're going to be in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, we were going to be, but
eventually, once someone comes out with the vaccine, we'll reverse engineer Putin's. It'll be fine. Blizzard Drox. It says, thank you for your donation. Read everything today like Angry Teddy Roosevelt. Just read everything today. Just read everything like an Angry Teddy Roosevelt, which I get. Okay. Oh, yeah. I think are there original recordings of him?
I don't know.
I mean, do like old timey newsreel voice, like when people need to do Teddy Roosevelt. And I think the original Yosemite Sam was supposed to be a parody of him.
Maybe.
I don't know. Man, to be alive in that time.
Tell me about it. I mean,
of course, you're going to get polio.
Yeah, and all sorts of terrible
gold
things.
rush and like dysentery.
Yeah, it's just any number.
You're going to get jaundice.
It's like the universe was out to see you dead.
Yeah.
Back then.
Now all we got is the Rona trying to thin the herds.
Yep.
It's going to work. That's my silver lining.
Well, it's going to be sad, too, because a lot of innocent people get caught in the crossfire.
True. Well, Thanos was right. Cameron says, oh, yeah. Also, and thank you again, Cameron, for another donation. Also, I want to add, I just got back from the Wingadinga party at the NSRA Street Rod Nationals. Any Wingadinga fests in your futures? Not really. Mike Garland from Carlisle Events is saying, when are you coming back to do one of the car shows at Carlisle? And I'm like, I don't know. I scheduled something this Saturday anyway. This Saturday's Import Nationals, which I never went to and I want to go. But I have a feeling that the only people who are going to the big car shows now are the people who need to be there. And it's going to be like the crazies showing up. Because I'm like, I'm going to be shaking hands. I'm going to be doing this. Of course, people are going to want me to shake my hands. And I say no. And I know it's outside. And it's probably not a big deal. It's like,
yeah, but
cost to benefit analysis is just,
if you got to like come up with that many sort of justifications for but then so like yeah, it's like it's not worth it because like what is the net positive of it to your life?
Yeah.
Like I mean,
I love Mike Garland and I love Carlisle and I'm glad that it's just like an hour and a half away and I can go to these gigantic shows right there. But let's give this a year. A year will turn into 2 years and who knows? Eventually, we'll just get bored with this, and it'll just be like taking your shoes off at the airport, and even that went away.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I keep doing it preemptively, and then realizing I don't have to
do it anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a TSA pre thing or not, but even some people with not TSA pre, you don't have to take your belt off, you don't have to take your shoes off. Yeah. Just go through, stand in the Tron, stand in the 3D printer, or whatever that thing is, and then just walk through. And then make a beeline to the Admiral's Lounge, which I heard is open again.
Yeah.
I think it may be to I don't know what they're doing. I need Admiral's Lounge and I need my gin and tonics. And I need it. But, the only place I want to do is like finish RCR Pacific Northwest. But right now you have the troubles there.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
The unpleasantness.
This is a positive podcast.
It sure is.
I gotta tell you about
Tony
this.
Airlines in the chat.
Tony Airlines in the chat.
Tony Airlines.
Hey, Tony, I got to tell you about this ejaculation I had. Because, like, I was sending, like, messages back and forth when I was out in Cincinnati. Like, I respect Justin Lose and Foster and Dono too much to, like, I respect you too much. I'm not going to bust in your house. I'm going to hold it in until I get back. And, man, that was what kept me going. Like driving back, it's like I am gonna nut so hard now. I couldn't jerk off for 5 fucking days, and now I get back here, and it's like if this is like a movie, like I need a disco ball to just descend from the ceiling of my living room. You just see me turning the little screw, like right behind me on the blinds. I'm just going. What's that ABBA song? Like. Dancing Queen. Yeah. Something. You just see in like little bits as the blinds close.
I mean, one of these days there
you
should
hear
just
like
be
3
a disco
fans
ball.
turn on for white noise. And I was sad that I was sad that I was gonna come because I'm like, this is only lasting a hot 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's like over, and it's like, well, go back to memes.
Yeah, but it's that easy one that you crank out, and then you're in like, I don't know, however long it takes to recharge, 10, 20 minutes to recharge. And you can start doing the one that takes work, the more fun one where you're doing hurts. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it can be fun, not the impossible nut, make dreams come true.
Oh, all that sperm just going into Timberland socks. Yeah, they're on spank patrol now. I'm like all blown out because I'm right like in the line of the sun right there. I should close that.
Oh,
line.
I thought you were talking about like all blown out from cranking it. Which I mean, hey, it's part of a well balanced existence. Part of this balanced. You ever knock like in college or something, you ever just knock one out before a class?
Hell yes.
Because it just seemed
it was never the first class, because the first class is the one you have timed perfectly, or at least I did, timed perfectly with my alarm. It's like the amount of time it takes me to get to class is measured out, wake up, and I would have wake up, teeth, clothes, backpack, out the door, maximizing my amount of sleep.
Yeah.
And I just go to that like 8:30 a.m. class, 9 a.m. class. I think one semester I had a fucking 8 a.m. class and no one wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And it was like a gen ed, so it was stupid. And then, but then when I came back, it's all, you know, working. Yeah, it's like working out your roommate's schedule.
Yeah.
Those ones are the utility busts.
Yeah.
They're not even busts. It's just like, I don't know. I have this it's like draining a catch can if you have one of those in your car. I have one in the Falcon. Instead of running EGR, or it's not even EGR, it's not running the crankcase breather back to the carburetor. It's just me going to this tank, unscrewing this knob, and runny peanut butter comes out. Like, it's not an enjoyable nut. It's just like, look, either we do this now or we're going to have problems at dinner.
Yeah. It's just, you don't want that shit backing up. And then, you know, you go to knock one out and suddenly you got like eye troubles.
Tony says knock one out on the flight. Did that once. 747-400.
Never have. I couldn't imagine. It's so tiny in there.
That was before you could load. That was before smartphones. That was in the year 2002. You didn't have smartphones, and there wasn't podcast didn't exist unless Mark Maron. I don't know. Like no, but like I didn't have an. Well, the iPhone wasn't until 2007. I think I remember seeing the iPod, but it was like a hard disk. This computer, I can hear the fans going on, which means it's having a problem. Speaking of Apple products. So it was something to do on that 19-hour flight from Johannesburg to Atlanta or something like that.
Yikes. Delta
Airlines was a Delta flight.
It's just,
again, it was a I don't know, I shouldn't say his real name. My friend Mike, and you know who you are. He had a YJ Wrangler, which he claims he jerked off in alone on the way back, on like leaving school on Route 61, like before he got to where the Sheetz is now. And that was a stick shift one. So he was pulling double duty. And I think I did that just to tell Mike, it's like, yo, 747.
Yeah.
Beat that. I met up with him recently. We didn't bring off, like he's married. He has a kid now, and he has a doctoral degree in chemistry.
Oh, wow.
And we met up at a funeral, which is a new thing about, you know, I'll be 40 next year, where now you meet up with old friends when friends die. Yeah. Like we had this poor girl in my neighborhood who just kind of fell off the radar, and then she died like a month or two ago. And it was like super weird because the only photos at the service were high school photos. And I'm like, what? So inevitably all of us, and there were people from, like, she went to Westchester, and a bunch of people from her college showed up, like myself, Mike, Jess. There were a few other people who showed up from high school, and, you know, her dad was there, or like her mom passed away. Like what we gleaned from everybody is that when this one girl, when her mom passed away, she kind of went off the rails, blah, 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 heroin. So, and that was it. And it was super weird because she was like an honor student, and we all like, and then when we looked around and saw like all of these friends showing up to like her funerals, like she could have asked any one of us if she was having a problem. And we would like welcome her in their homes, like, yo, clean up. You're our friend.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to do that. She also never really used social media. It was really weird. But hey, positive podcast. So, but, you know, hey, you know, that's what's going to happen when you get into your 40s. Like some people are going to really, really change.
And it's rough, but it's a part of life. And hopefully enough people are raised by parents who prepare them for what life will be like beyond them.
Yeah.
So that they don't fall apart when the parent dies.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to think about.
Yeah.
Oh, there was someone in the chat, regular chat, who was saying, Where did it go? Where did it go? All right. Laser Lord 10 says, anyone in the chat want to recommend me a Honda Fit alternative for an MT daily only car?
Yeah. Corolla.
I think that's why.
Do you need a hatchback? Fine. Mazda 3. Mazda 3.
Unfortunately, I have a CVT Fit and have gotten too used to the storage space.
That's going to be tough. The Fit's really practical.
Yeah.
You're not going to do much better than that. I don't know. Manual Fit.
Someone said a Fiesta.
The storage space is like half. Because I remember when we did that Fiesta, I looked at it as a alternative to the Honda Fit. No way.
Nah.
No way. It's so small on the inside. You're going to have hard press at that price point to get something with more storage than a Honda Fit. Yeah. Maybe third gen Forester, but your mileage is going to go in the tubes. It's going to be terrible. So yeah, the answer is manual Fit. And even the Corolla, say you have the money to buy that Corolla hatch. Corolla hatch is tiny and you're not going to have that storage space, man. You're going to have to make a compromise. And probably the answer is just be a newer Honda Fit with a stick shift.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I don't know what the response is there. I mean, you could
unless he has a current gen. I don't know if they're still doing the manual and the Fit or not.
I mean, it depends on, like, I guess what the feelings are on something like a Ford Focus or something, which even then it's like
you're down in quality, man.
Yeah,
you're a Ford
product. It's not even a lateral move.
Yeah, it's not good. No, it's a lateral and a down move.
Yeah, it's weird in the sense that
unless you're talking about an ST, that's different. That's got power. It's going to be fun. But I mean, Jeff, who shows up from time to time, Jeff Weissman.
Yeah,
he drives a manual Focus, base model manual Focus, and he just said, well, I had this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, and you're not going to get that in a Fit, and it's just going to go and go.
Oh, he says he's looking for a 2018 to 2019 EX in a manual. There are literally 12 in the US.
What?
Which
for a Fit?
Oh, I'm assuming
EX manual. I mean, tough, man.
It's weird because I know the cliche is that the answer is always Corolla, but there's a reason. You know, it's like, what are you going to do? They fit into most of the categories that people are searching for when they ask, all right, recommend me a car that does this, this, and this. Well, it's like, well, and unless you give a number of what you're working with, budgetary, you know, it's just, well, the answer is going to be Corolla because I assume you want something that isn't going to cost you an arm.
Do you really have to move refrigerators? You don't. A sedan, like I lived with a 2-door coupe for 10 years and I figured out ways to make stuff fit in it. It's called take the seats out. You'd be surprised how easy seats come out. So yeah, I mean, I hold lawnmowers in that freaking Toyota Echo. I just took the passenger seat out. It came out with 4 bolts. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Claudio. Hello, Claudio. Download the Skyrim realistic horse genitalia mod. Why am I not surprised? That's what I want to do. Ride a horse and just look at balls all day. If I wanted that, I'd sign into my AD Twitter. Anthony K. No question. Just says USD $2. Thank you.
Very nice.
Or Andrey and Andrey, Andrey.
Andre?
Andre, do they come with a Y? An E and Y? Is that
redundant? I don't know. I have no idea. I wish I knew.
Do I know anybody named Andre? I don't think I do. That's a himbo name.
Wasn't Andre the guy of the friend of Oliver's with the Vatican? Yeah, it was Andre. His name was Andre. Like
Oliver's friend.
Oliver's friend, yeah.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like 99.1% sure.
I get this reference. 8-track with $6.21. Can't throw that one by me. What would you say are the best and worst manual transmissions you've driven are? Honda number 1. Toyota, worst. Most Toyotas are really, really notchy. Says the guy who wants to buy a manual Camry. Okay, worst. We're talking worst. Like unrealistic worst is the Deuce and a Half. That's horrendous. Of course, we're talking. That's not really a car. That's an agricultural, industrial, military grade. And when you hear someone say military grade, it doesn't mean it's good. It just means whatever this piece of equipment is, it meets the bare minimum required to be run by the U.S. military, which usually means it's junk. It's just something that can be replaced easily.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's any robust than anything else. Anyway, so best is always Honda. Really, the worst is like your average Toyota. They just don't. They're not great. You have to do stuff to them. At the very least, a weighted shift knob, and then they feel a little bit better. You put poly mounts on the linkages, they get better. They're just not accurate. And also not good stuff is like GM stuff from the 90s, but they're not really unusable. They don't give you false gears. They're just floppy, and it's like stirring a knife into mashed potatoes. It's just, it just goes in. It's not really a thing. You put them into gear and it flops around from one side to the other. Mm-hmm. I know that's really worn bushings, but they never really were good out of the factory. Subarus are just kind of in the middle somewhere. Lotus, I forget what transmission that they were using in their release. It may have been a Toyota transmission because it uses a Toyota engine, but I'm sure Lotus did something to it to make it feel better. Ford on the Mustangs, they're pretty good. Ford's good. GM does a solid manual. Like modern GM.
GM now.
They take a little bit of effort and they don't really click in. And then in the sort of aftermarket stuff, it's not aftermarket. Manufacturers use it. Your Tremec 5-speed and Tremec 6-speed. They're crisp. They're pretty damn good. There's a reason people use them in all your hot rods and builds. They feel great. And whatever you put them in them, they do the nice click into gear. And then on an outlier is Ferrari. Like the one manual, Doug's 360 Modena. When I drove that with a gated shifter, that's something special. But it's an outlier. It's not a regular car. So yeah, top is always Honda. Bottom, unfortunately, is a lot of what Toyota does. Andre K again, or Andre. Let's go with Andre. Snow Runner, a game where you drive trucks. I guess he's recommending a game to me. Okay. Boris T.S. Karloff. Again, familiar face. Thank you for your donation. I saw a Miata given the PA Dubber treatment last week in Chicago. It looked like it was putting on a fake smile. It made me sad. I mean, it's Miata. There's plenty of them. Eventually, I don't know. They are classics, and people are starting to pay good money for NAs right now. But I have no weeping about cut up Miatas, at least not at this point. Good observation, though. Thank you. Ice Aspect. This looks like a new name. Never doesn't ring a bell. Ice Aspect, and thank you for your donation. Asks, curious, is there a reason you guys only did one car in Pittsburgh? Yeah, time.
Yeah.
I rolled into Pittsburgh that day, went to Justin's house, sat on his couch for a little bit, got up and went out and started filming. So yeah. I drove 5 hours and then just started filming. It's like, I can't pull a tour after that.
And I mean, all the other times we went to Pittsburgh and did multiple cars, like I think we did twice where we went to Pittsburgh, filmed cars, and went off without a hitch. But the other two times, there was the Millvale Neon. Yeah. So you got sick. And then the other time, I think something fell through that we had planned, and then it just became like an extra day. So yeah, otherwise it's just, or it's this beginning of a trip and we don't want to like be doing things. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we've done plenty of stuff in Pittsburgh. It's just that like, it's also,
It
I don't
takes
know.
long. It takes about 3 hours to film a car,
Yeah. And
especially in a city where we don't know. Like when we do it at home, we can bang it out in an hour if we do not fuck around. But Pittsburgh's challenging because the traffic. It's not LA traffic, but it's always a pain in the ass getting around all those highways with the multiple exits anywhere.
yeah, sorry.
It's challenging to drive. It's just difficult to do it smoothly. And it always takes longer. There's redos and stuff like that. So Pittsburgh is now usually only 1-car shoot days. And
Yeah.
half the time when we're in Pittsburgh, we're passing through. So Ice Aspect says, I sent a super chat before about a 2019 6MT Crosstrek going back anytime soon. I don't know when I'm going back, but as long as it's formatted correctly, I'll have that email saved. So thank you, Ice Aspect. Lo-fi camping guy. No questions, just $1.69.
Nice.
Frequency. Thank you for your donation. Asks, wiping front to back is allowed if using wet wipes. Didn't know about that policy, but thank you. Normally I'm back to front, but that was another travesty about being away from home for 5 days, was being away from my bidet. Hated that. It's all dry and weird. I left wet naps at Foster's house and they were still there in his bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm like, nice. Unless he bought new ones. They were just Dollar Shave Club stuff.
I mean, Tim Strigler himself said, like, having a bidet fucks up your away game like something fierce because you can't go back.
You can never go back.
It's too hard.
To our point of view. It's done. LB, $10 Canadian. Thank you. I appreciate that. Steely Dan Deacon Blues best yacht rock song of all time. Yeah, that's a solid one. I like the I think it's the Steely Dan, the definitive collection, the last album on that best of is like the things I miss the most.
Yeah,
God, that's a good one.
I'm just pulling up my friggin' book. It's weird. I have 2 versions of Sentimental Lady by Bob Welch. The one that he recorded with Fleetwood Mac, and then the one that was a solo version that he had a minor hit with. And that song is so good in every version. And freaking The Chain, Mandolin Rain, Bruce Hornsby.
Which, yeah.
And of course, I mean, you got to have Christopher Cross on there
to have
anything complete. I saw this.
Finer things keep shining through. Who's that? Something lost in you.
There's also
things keep shining through. I think that's Steve Winwood.
Possibly. Back in the High Life again is definitely yacht rock. And there's there was this ongoing debate about whether Hall & Oates count, but I think they do because they're on like official playlists for yacht rock. And Eagles, which is funny because in that Fleetwood Mac script, Lindsey Buckingham rips on I Can't Tell You Why, which is or is it One of These Nights? Either way, it's like either one is one of my favorite Eagles songs or songs, period. And I get it that they don't, for their period, the Eagles was, that, they're selling out and they're soft rock and they're pop. But it just seems funny that, and I love and respect Fleetwood Mac, but I mean, for crying out loud, like we're acting like the Eagles are somehow pop, whereas like Fleetwood Mac is like the bastion of artistic purity. And it's like for the time, maybe, and even maybe a little bit now, but like it was the pop music of its time, for lack of a better term, or the pop rock music of its time. They even, even in biographical documents, it's like Mick Fleetwood wanted to go in a more like radio ready direction. That's why, that it made sense to bring in Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks to the band.
Hourly B says, if we already have submitted a car, but it has been modified, I am willing to drive. Should I resubmit that or anything? Car is in Massachusetts. Nah, you don't have to worry about that. If I email you, just, keep me up to speed when I ask. That's it. Good question, though. Thank you.
Yes.
Boris T.S. Karlov, thank you for your another question and donation. Come to Kunkelman Chevy for all your Kunkelman Chevy needs. Again, I think we're going to have merch
Yeah.
of the fake dealership called Kunkelman Chevrolet.
And just have people, there's another business from a skit in a video coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have merch for.
Yeah, that'll be coming out on Monday.
Yeah, assuming that it goes over well.
If it goes over well.
Yeah, because you never know how people will react to things. But still, I love I'll be alone and I'll start doing the bit.
That thing just came out of a conversation after a shoot. I can't pronounce his name. Caesar something or other. Caesar IOJPN. Thank you for your donation. It says, speaking of unsolved mysteries, which was the better paranormal show? Unsolved Mysteries or Sightseeings?
Never saw Sightseeings. But even if I had, the answer would still be Unsolved Mysteries, because Unsolved Mysteries is one of my favorite shows ever. And so, I don't know how many times I've seen the cases ever since it became capable to stream, on Hulu and Amazon Prime, wherever. I just can't even tell you how many times I've been through that whole series, and not even after it's streamed, but before, when it's just reruns on Lifetime.
Nice.
It's just
Lifetime shows to make your grandmother wring her hands.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was kind of the network that got me into the Golden Girls in my youth.
Oh, that's nice.
Or was it? Because they also gave Designing Women, and I didn't really care for that. But
what was that show?
I don't remember. It's weird. It's one of those things where even if I didn't watch a show, I at least knew what it was about. I didn't give a shit about the nanny, but I knew it was about a salon. Well, they explained the whole thing in the opening theme song about she was this hairdresser who got kicked out by her boyfriend, and then she becomes a nanny to this rich guy. It's just, but hey, it's the 90s, and it's filled with people who could only have been popular and successful in the 90s.
Were you listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Rob Lowe on it?
I was not.
That's a good one. And Joe doesn't rehash his whole thing about Rona and this, that, and the other. It's just Rob Lowe telling cocaine stories about stuff. And it's I remember I was on this show in 89 or something like that. And we were number 16 in prime time. And we were way down there. But back then that meant we were only getting 18 million views. Back then. You're kidding me? The amount of views that TV had and all the money and stuff. It sort of disappeared from my iPhone. I was listening to it today and it went away, and I'm I'm totally into this. Rob Lowe's the man.
Yeah.
Of course, now completely sober. He's I can't have a drink or this, that, and the other. But he started telling me stories of but when he was when he was just going hard and just doing blow and stuff like that. It's oh, that was the best.
Ooh. It's so strange to see sort of the people who have come out of the haze of addiction and the stories that they have to tell, because it's fascinating.
Yeah.
That and also kind of, it'll sound weird, but kind of hopeful in a way.
Yeah.
That you can be sober, but look back on the times in which you weren't.
Yeah.
Without being triggered. Which I suppose is something that you build up like a callus eventually.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to hear, or would be interesting to hear those types of stories from people who are sober now, who sort of have those stories that aren't all necessarily stories of tragedy, even though the addiction itself is the monster in the story.
Did you ever read the Heroin Diaries by Nikki Sixx?
I did not.
Yeah, it's a good one. Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. It's what I didn't know is that he was keeping a journal all throughout this time. The guy was writing stuff down. And it's he found all that stuff when he was just doing heroin every day. And they published it all. And I remember I was reading it because my old art teacher had a copy when I was substitute teaching for him. He had it in his desk. And every time I substituted for him at Blue Mountain High School, I'd read this book. I'm this is an amazing read. It's it read like Bukowski, but not as self-destructive, because Nikki Sixx is okay now, whereas Bukowski, well, he passed away. Yeah. He was a wreck. He never stopped drinking or anything that. He just went down into the depths of his murky mind.
Yeah.
Wrote great. Anyway, 8-track. Sorry to like barge.
No. That's a
8-track says, ever thought about coordinating with Roadkill to review any of their cars? I'd love to. They're so big. I don't think they'd give us the time of day. The closest I got to both of those guys was on one Lemons rally. It was one of the ones in the snow. There's a bunch in the snow. They had that Mark V or something Lincoln that some guy shortened into a tiny car, and they just couldn't get it running. That was the first time I went out and I did $1,000 worth of damage to my Falcon in terms of salt by just driving the Falcon in the snow. And I saw there and I'm like, hi, I'm a YouTuber. They'd probably be like, who cares? I mean, and they're more mechanical guys and guys that want to talk about American romanticism, Good question though. I mean, if they ever approached me, I'd say yes.
Yeah,
Laser Lord 10 says, gonna trade my CVT Fit for, is this that guy? Gonna trade my CVT 15 Fit for an 18 EX6 MT. Stupid? Man, it's your money. I don't see any other options that shine through the Fit. Used golf? No. I want reliable though. Yeah, this is probably the same guy I was talking about.
I didn't realize he put a super chat out there.
Yeah, man, it's not stupid. I mean, you get a trade in, you move up, and if that makes you happy, you get the same car now with a stick shift. You can stir that. You can stir that thing like I don't know, a union guy stirring his coffee if they stir their coffee. I don't know. You don't have to be good at driving stick to drive a Honda. They just go into gear. Super easy. Aaron R. Abril. There's a familiar face. Thank you for your donation. Either of you ever read? Oh boy, this is a tough one. Junji Ito.
Oh, Junji Ito. He's like a horror. I want to say he's like a horror writer. I believe graphic novels that have been adapted into films, but I'm not entirely sure. And the reason I'm not sure is because no, I have not read any of that particular literature, which I hear is very good. If you're into types of like psychological horror, but also like it's kind of metal, it's insane in a weird way of, not the clinical definition, but it's, I don't know. Like I've never really had a desire to read it. Of course I say this and there's all sorts of, well, actually, no, that's not that weird. Because I was going to cite stuff like Attack on Titan when, if you think about it, it's really not that weird. Attack on Titan, if you used to sort of like certain types of anime. But I don't know. I just finished Attack on Titan and it's, until the next final season. And it's just so strange because the whole point is that they animate these giants like they're drunk and running around, which is the point, but it makes them more alien and more scary, but it also makes them like freaking hilarious to watch. There's a Titan who's running, literally making finger guns and looking up at the sky while he's doing it, but he's running at like 100 miles an hour while the guy next to him is running with like windmill arms. And it's just, they're doing it for, I don't even know why, but it's just strange.
Don't think about it, Morty. Just go with it. Gun Bunny says, I wanted to thank you, Roman, for the Westfalia song.
Oh, thank you for listening.
I've grown up with an abusive father, which led me to depression. Thanks for that song. I'm cured now.
Oh, wow, that means a lot. I mean, I'm sorry for what you had to go through. That song was really hard to write just because I didn't know what to say. I knew what I wanted to, but I didn't know how to say it. And I had the melody, like the bass demo, like the bare bones demo of the melody. And then I'm like, I have to write lyrics for this eventually. And I still like couldn't. 2 months pass. I go in the studio, record the, melody and everything else with my producer, Zach. And I'm like, I got to write lyrics for this. And I still I couldn't do it. And then one night I just sort of sat down and I'm like, I'm writing the lyrics for this and I'm not going to get up and do anything else until it's done. And so a lot of it is just, so close and yet so far. A lot of it is just trying to sort of get to a point where I felt comfortable. Well, yeah, where I felt comfortable feeling like this is what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it, and making it feel that like, yes, I resent that I hate not having not had a father around because he passed, but I don't resent him for it. Like, I didn't want it to come across as though I resented him. It's just the idea being that there are things that will always be unknown to me, and that's one of them. So it's just, but I'm okay. Like, that's the other thing of it. Like, I think about it, but I'm okay. And so it's kind of in that regard. Yeah. Oh, congratulations to Astro Ascension Tarot, who passed his or her road test today.
Hey.
Or yesterday.
Hey.
Hey.
Not Ben 101 says next song should be 100 Reasons to Buy a Corolla. I don't know if there's not sure there's 100 reasons. It's normally shut up, buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, still thinking about that manual Camry. Other people have, like, I was watching a Vin Wiki and he was talking about an LP60, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and here I am lusting over like an 06 Toyota Camry with a 6-speed in it. It's like, I need that.
Yeah. It's
so cheap, but all I do is just save YouTube money and just save like sponsors. There was a company who emailed me, said, do you want to plug our power washer? It's just like an electric pressure washer. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's kind of car centric. You can wash your car with it. Power washers are good for blasting off snow. You don't want to get them too close to your car. You could strip the paint off them, but they're great for wheels and brakes and stuff. But they're also fantastic for truck beds. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And you can also get attachments for them to like spray underneath your car to like clean the salt off that way. Lots of companies make this little sprayer that's like, it's a metal bar on wheels and you just attach a hose or a power washer to it. It's a big stick and you just wheel it underneath your car and it sprays upward to like spray all the salt off. So that's a thing. Yeah. I threw them the big number and they came back with a small number and said, we'll give you this plus affiliate. Like, you'll get 9%, or it's like, it's a single digit on every sale. And I'm like, I don't know how too many people are going to buy this power washer. Normally just somebody will go to like the store and buy a Ryorbi or a Milwaukee or a Honda or something like that. Just be done with that. Or they go to Harbor Freight it until they break it. And then I told them like a number slightly higher. It's like, how about this amount of money? And I don't have an affiliate. That way I can talk shit about it when it's done.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bend over just to have some white label power washer. If they're watching right now, you got my email. Yeah. I'll say nice things and we'll make a funny video about a power washer. I'll stick it down my pants and then go to the hospital.
At least you're getting relevant sponsors. I get emails from people who want me to show like dog grooming accessories.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't get it, but I mean, who does?
Oh, Andrew Palmer says, do you think a beater Tesla will ever be a thing? Well, yeah, there's that one YouTube guy who just buys wrecked Teslas and fixes them. Given they have a certain image to maintain and control over all their software, well, the software can be broken. I mean, check up with the guys with the Teslanda who did it. That's a freaking laughable, fun car. Based on features, kind of reminds me of buying a used cell phone. Hey, I bought a used cell phone. It's right over there. It's a JDM iPhone. Can't turn the shutter sound off. But it was the cheapest iPhone 6S on eBay or Amazon when I bought it.
Tremendous.
So yeah, beater Teslas will become a thing. Every car is a beater given enough time, and then a classic given even more.
Yep, and an antique even more than that.
Yep.
But real quick, Atomic Media says, would y'all like to review a 1994 Chevrolet Astrovan? I just acquired one, and I think it's a pretty regular car. And you know what that means? It's time for
regularcars@gmail.com. Your make, model, city, state in the title of the email. And in the body of the email, put your phone number so I can call you. Don't make me hunt for that phone number. And hey, speaking of your state, write the entire state out. Don't put it as just an abbreviation that doesn't show up when I search for cars in your area. It's where all the hot singles are. So your make, model, city, state in the title of the email, and in the body of the email, put your phone number. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wyatt B says, I gotta pee very soon. You just drank an entire bottle of water and you don't have to pee it.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't broken the seal. Is that? I don't know how that's a thing.
No, breaking a seal isn't a thing. It's just like, hey, you have to pee now. Now you really have to pee. Now you pissed your pants. Hey, you broke the seal. I think it's maybe you got dehydrated a little bit up in there in the booth because it's hot. Wyatt B says, love the new setup, guys. Ever heard of the Rockets cover of Oh Well? They're an old Detroit band, so I'm biased toward their version. Can't say that I have.
No, neither have I. I mean, I'll have to listen to it later.
Oh, here's a good idea from Caesar again. Says, how about Kunkelman Chevrolet license plate frames?
Yeah, someone suggested that, and I'm like, okay, but like, I don't, because Motoloot doesn't do them, and I would like to kind of figure out a way to do them. I have a bunch of merch that's like ready to upload that could potentially go up on the site for our merch, Redbubble. But it's like I got to get the sizing proportions right. I also have to figure out like coloring and fonts and all this other stuff, and I'm trying to get everything up there as quickly as possible, but it's also been kind of a logistical nightmare because I've been trying to get the RCR stories done first. And since, you know, videos always take priority over everything else. So I have audio that I have to edit now. And I also have video to edit once the audio is done being edited. And then I have a life to live. Although it's not like I have a social life right now. So I don't know what it's just, ultimately, I am going to get the merch up there. I just want to make sure that it's sized correctly, that it's a transparent image so that you're able to get it on any color shirt you want, and that I'm not losing resolution. But also, it's like the dimensions that they ask for on the site are so absurd that I don't know. Like, I got to get I'm just like the worst guy to be doing this, you know, but it's still, you know, yeah. But you guys will have it soon. Here's hoping. But yeah. Oh, that was good timing. Hey.
Oh, gotta get closer to the microphone. Go eat a towel. That's their name. Thank you for your donation. Go eat a towel. Any thoughts on Ghost Adventures, Zach Baggins? And I have no idea what that is.
No, neither do I. But I mean, I'm sure it's like, I think that came during the midst of our discussion on paranormal shows, which is weird because outside of Unsolved Mysteries, I don't really watch shows, or I didn't really watch shows where the whole premise was paranormal, because it's like, well, I mean,
did you hear that? Oh, something strange.
Yeah.
And Stranger Things has just taken it as just, I think, as like put the cap on paranormal stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just after a certain while, it's like there are only so many possible outcomes for this. Like, if it's a reality show that's paranormal, then obviously it's going to be a lot of like ad breaks that are teasing big developments that never come.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, I hear Ghost Adventures is decent, apparently. I've never watched it, but maybe I'll give it a look and maybe I'll be surprised, because you never know. But if it's fiction-based stuff, I mean, I guess you have more leeway there, but still.
This all take place in Western Massachusetts by somebody who lives in a ranch-style home with an overgrown lawn. They're a Wiccan. They drive a Hyundai Elantra from 2000, the year 2000. It's got stickers creeping up the back windows. Hubcaps are gone. One headlight's filled with water. She names it the Adventurer. Von Waffensberg. Hello, there's an old name. Finally caught up with you guys again. Been binging the last 10 pods over the past 2 weeks. Ural motorcycle, what's the opinion? Well, you got to have a handlebar mustache to ride a Ural. You got to be so fucking pretentious to ride that freaking motorcycle. Yes, it has a sidecar. Congratulations. You're going to go on that gentleman's ride, aren't you? You're going to wear tweed while you ride it. Maybe some aviator goggles on top of your full face helmet. Congratulations. You have an Ural. Oh, you're going to tell me about the history of the Ural, aren't you? Ural. Guess what? It's about mountains. They say it could cross the mountains. Yeah, know what? What else can cross a mountain? Stuff with 4 wheels. Ride your Ural and shut up. There's my thoughts about that stupid motorcycle. Move to Brooklyn. Ural. Dragon Cat, good question. Dragon Cat Motorsports. What are your thoughts on Hyundai Kia? They're fine. Fine car.
And how?
America's best warranty. Are they a Toyota? No. Are they a Honda? No. Are they a great value? Yes. We were just riding one today at the store. Everything about it is just fantastically, mind-numbingly fine. And they even have the nice ones, the Palisade and the Telluride. Nice. I'd love to drive one. I'll bet they're wonderfully pleasant. Yeah. I mean, the Kia Stinger, same way. Can't fault it. Are they going to make you nut? Probably not. The nicest one was that Genesis that we did with the V6 and 6-speed and a rear-wheel drive. That thing was pretty darn cool. I would still rather have a Honda Accord 6MT. Are they a replacement? No, they're not. Do you need a car? Yes. They're probably really good with their lease agreements too. Probably great used cars as well, as long as they're taken care of. But I guess my thoughts are, as much as they innovate, I don't know if they'll ever have the prestige of Honda and Toyota. Or it's going to take like a whole nother generation or something like that. With branding, they got through with Genesis a little bit. That worked. But hey, they're selling cars. You see them everywhere.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yuma Tamura says, finally caught you guys live. Really enjoyed We Stayed as Romans podcast. Question for Nick. Original song of the CX50 review intro.
Oh, the intro.
I need a screwdriver to fix this mic stand. I'll be right back.
That was Cameron's bike, wasn't it? Yeah, it was I think it was God Gave Rock and Roll to You, like Kiss, because I'd seen like Bill and Ted recently. And the outro, take this job and shove it. It's a great song, Johnny Paycheck. And thank you for the compliments on the podcast. I did a podcast since Brian was out of town last week. I did a podcast exclusively with my mom, but it wasn't going to be for the channel. It was just going to be it's going to be for the podcasting side of the channel. So that meant it went up directly and exclusively to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you download our podcasts. And got encouraging number of listens. And I just had my mom on. We talked about cars, road trips, weird family history, dark family history, uplifting family history, Puerto Rican culture, Neo-Rican culture, like New York culture. It was interesting and one of the most challenging things I've done, because it's hard to kind of be a host when you're just talking with your mom the way you normally would. And I always had this weird sort of voice in the back of my head telling me to be more podcast host in trying to like direct the conversation. But I realized it's better if you just don't do that. And so we ended up doing I don't know how many minutes we spent on it, but way more than what it called for. A conversation on The Godfather.
Nice.
Because, it's like, well, we talk about all the things that like we kind of grew up with, like what she grew up with and what I grew up with. And in a sense that because she grew up with these things, I grew up with them too. And you end up in this place where you understand a little bit more about where you came from. I learned about how the extent to which my grandmother was a problem solver, the way that she had a very steadfast and forthright attitude about everything, to the point where, if she gave her word on something, it was her bond. And because when you don't have a lot, your word is all you have.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just, it was a nice podcast to do, and I'm glad that people enjoyed it. And yeah, it's on wherever you get our podcast, it's there. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I got a tweet about that. You got send me a link or a tweet, and I'll say, hey, this is a standalone Roman and his mom podcast.
Yeah.
Von Waffensberg says, I found out about your gayness in my binge. I find the female form most attractive, but I've seen a couple transmissions. How far am I from blowing a dude?
I mean,
I don't know, 8 drinks, something like that.
Well, I mean,
I don't know how to answer that question, man.
How
far am I? Like, I've seen a couple of trans, but like, do you look at them and say, I'd fuck with that? Well, then congratulations. You're just like everybody else on the universe.
Yeah. I mean,
don't worry about it, Maury.
I don't know. And in that case, it wouldn't be a situation where you're blowing. It's just,
who the fuck cares?
Who cares? You like what you like.
You know what that is? It's the scene from Mad Men where the little punk kid, I forget his name, says Don Draper isn't who he says.
Yeah, no one cares.
He's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
You like what you like, who you like. You are who you are.
Go to work, make money. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Get money, get paid.
Yeah. Get to the bag. Get to the bag. We can do this together.
Derek Otway says, most overrated opinions. Corvettes are the best. I.e. sunroof, moonroof is a wave. AC is very, very. Sunroofs or moonroofs, I don't care. Just go ahead and have a convertible. I need a sunroof and a moonroof. That's something that leaks, honestly. It's something that... It's like you get to wear a hat. Great, because the sun's shining on. I mean, they're great. They're kind of neat at night, but I don't think having a hole in the top of your car is something you really want, because like water eventually gets in that, and that's just another seal that goes. Yeah. Nah. I'm not a big fan of sunroofs and moonroofs.
I've never been a fan of any of those things just because they seem weirdly antithetical to what you're getting a car for.
Yeah.
Because I like the very boxed in feeling. It feels more snug and like home.
Yeah. Yeah. If you just get it, like convertibles are great. Like work your way up, get a house with a 2-car garage, buy a regular car, and then have your fun car, and fuck it, have a convertible. Get a Miata.
Yeah,
it'll be amazing. Don't buy that freaking Sebring with the convertible. That's yuck. Buy a car that's meant to be a convertible from jump. Don't buy a car that had the roof cut off. That includes Corvettes, by the way.
Yeah.
Although the C4, I think, was made to be a Targa and made to be a T-top. That's different. And also the C8 was made to be a Targa. Like, if it's made to be that way, it's different. If you turn a car into a Corvette or turn a car into a convertible...
Well, that's kind of like when they were planning in the 70s, like Bill Mitchell was into this like 4-rotor Corvette they called the Aerovet, and they were thinking of doing it with, for production. But the problem is that, it had gull wing doors, which knocked out like the convertible and Targa top options. And, they didn't want to limit themselves automatically. And even though, anytime they took to car shows, it's like, oh, look at this. But it's like, how hard do you really have to try to wow people at a car show?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the response is something that's almost a given, but it's like the Corvette was kind of got off the ground because of its response at a car show, because of Motorama in 1953. It's like, what are you getting? So, I mean, I get it, but I don't know. I just don't like all these like removable things. I just want a car to be a completed, holistic thing.
It should be made to have now 60s cars and classic American cars, now your safety's out the window to begin with. So have a convertible, have or not. If you're going to have a convertible, have it be electric. Actually, no, it doesn't even have to be electric, because Miatas, you just unbolt those two things and just literally throw it back and the roof's down. It's not a complicated process.
Yeah.
Like taking the roof off and now you need a friend and you got to store it in the bag and you got to put it in a truck. Don't give me extra steps between me and taking the roof off.
Yeah.
Have me hit a button that goes back. Yeah. Fine. Now, if you're going to have a car that lives outside and you're committed to having that a convertible, now you're limited to something with a retractable hardtop. Because I know a few people in this town have street parked convertibles and those roofs get ragged in the winter. I mean, it has they always leak. They're going to leak. You can't keep a soft top outside in all weather. I don't care if you live in California or not. We did that. Jared, I think we got to wrap this up. We're closing in on 2 hours.
Yeah.
Jared Paboski, mispronounced that. Thank you for the donation, though. Do you ever see the lady that queefed pool water all over the garbanzo beans at Wendy's? Keep it up, Regu. Yeah, that was just nonsense. I came up like on the spot. Yeah. That was a good one. Thanks for liking like the classic episodes.
I'm just gonna hold the sign.
Okay. I think that was it.
No, there's one more. Okay. Awesome man 3333, $2. Thank you for the donation. Any Isuzu cars planned in the near future?
Negative. I mean, we had that iMark that came by Bruce's shop one time, but it was owned by Muller. And I want to drive it. I don't know if it's still at his shop, but he doesn't really have a sense of humor. So I think there's need. I'd like to get an old Isuzu Trooper. That thing would roll over on any chance it had. It wants to go on its roof all the time.
Yeah, don't give
what
it
a hunk of junk.
Yeah.
So no Isuzu's planned in the near future. I don't know if we ever did one. Maybe. There's a Japanese brand I haven't thought of in forever. Isuzu, Joe Isuzu. And Eli Birchall sliding in here. Hello again, and thanks for the quality content. You're welcome. And I think that's a podcast.
I think that is a podcast.
That's everybody. Isuzu Via-Cross. Oh, of course. Yeah. Friggin' DeMuro got his hands on one of them. Asshole. I remember I saw one at friggin' Too Many Games convention down there in Oaks, Greater Philadelphia Expo Center.
He's great.
I gotta fix this audio when we get out. It's like this extra step after it I complain about. I'll do it. Don't worry. I feel hot and sticky. What's tomorrow? Thursday? I have nothing planned. I mean, you don't have to I get the notes from you whenever, and then I just roll on to the next one. Oh, that's right. I got to film Saturday.
You can.
I should just go to the gym tomorrow. I should wake up and get high and go to the gym. It should be my Thursday.
You can save like the editing of this audio for like tomorrow and just send me the file, and I'll put it up on the Shout engine.
I know, but if I get it done now, it's done. And it's over with. I came down off of the coffee, and now I came down off of the beer. so it's just
coming down.
RCR Wake and Bake. Yeah, that's the only way I can get high, man. A poof. It's just it has to be in the morning. That way I know there's like it's gonna be done. By like noon, I'm back to the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have to go to bed all weird. Because at night, that's when the beer comes out. And then, or something else happens, and then bad decisions happen when the sun goes down. You do it in the morning. How's the Vagabond Falcon doing? Great. Drove it today.
Yeah, we drove it today. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always a thrill to be out in the Falcon. Started up on the first time too.
Yeah, how
Good times.
Okay, that yawns means it's time to be finished. Thank you to everybody who donates to RCR on Patreon. You're helping this channel act as a much larger channel than it really is. Thank you to everybody who donated to Super Chat. You're keeping the channel going. Thank you to everybody who watches every Monday. You're giving us a job, and reason to put these degrees to work. And
Amen.
Freddie W at the end. Is that really Freddie Wong or is someone else? Freddie W. I haven't seen that guy in 5 years.
Well, there's a lot of people I haven't seen in 5 years.
Yeah. It's good to hear something about that. Garrett Green, Jordan, Sam, Andrew, Quaxum, Jared, and Freddie W.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night. I'm Brian.
I'm Nick.
Have a good night. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.
And we're out on the recording, and now we're out on the.
Well,
yeah,
I
go
could've
pee.
peed whenever. It's just I didn't really have to. Yeah.
I remember times I would just leave this thing run, and people would wonder where we go on purpose. Like, did they leave it running? I don't know. Coffee cake, eating sugar off of wax paper. Mmm. 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 Oh, what luck. There's morsels left in the Tupperware bin. Okay. Yeah, we're done. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Have a very good night.